Welcome back. I'm Harrison, and today we're doing some funky little animation of an illustration video we've done previously. So if you watched that video, you might know that the illustration was not a walk in the park. Petals, right? But regardless, the animating of this video was a little bit of a walk in the park. And by park, I mean Ren Fair. You know, put a little cosplay up, put a little elf ears on your face, and you're good to go. But regardless, let's go ahead and hop into the process video where I can explain to you just how fun it was to put this animation together, all for your entertainment. Much like a gladiator in the old days, I live and die by my pencil, and I'm doing it all for you. So I hope you enjoy. Let's hop into it. So starting out, I am taking these lines, lowering their opacity, sampling the color, and then I'm starting to trace. I'm doing the slow and arduous task of just tracing my lines. You know, it's not winning any awards, it's not reinventing the wheel, but it is the rabbit of the race, if you will. It is the strong, necessary element that is just tracing these lines. And you know what? When I'm doing these animation videos, it's nice to have extra accessories. It's really nice to have the font that I've created and, of course, adding the speckly bits at the end, but it's truly these lines that are the primary carrier of the entertainment of these animations. So it's just so crucial and so important that I invest the time to trace these and get them right. Depending on the day, depending on my mood, these lines are gonna be closer and true to the reference, or they might be a little bit off the mark, but thank goodness it's only gonna last a frame at a time. So if I'm a little off, I think you're not gonna see it for very long, which is its own luxury, if you will. And so without getting too much into the theory of lines, let's just watch this come to life, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, ooh, man, the process of tracing these lines isn't too different from one animation video to the next. I sure hope it's entertaining, but I gotta tell you what, I enjoy just sitting here and watching this come to life. And I hope you enjoy it too, because, for me, it costs something to bring this all together. If I get a little bit out of it, I hope you get to sit there and at least waste life together with me for a brief moment where we get to enjoy the simplicity of lines coming to shape. Okay, so at this point in the process, I have my lines growing upwards. I gotta say, growing lines is tricky business. It's much harder than just watching cat videos on YouTube, but it is a lot easier than, let's say, a succulent, as easy as they are. What we're about to do here in a second is duplicate the full frame of my illustration so that you can sit there and enjoy the lines in their full form for more than just a microsecond. So I am duplicating these frames before I'm sending and animating these lines back down, but regardless, let's go ahead and hop back into the process video so we can enjoy the heady philosophies of just tracing lines. Okay, so I am tracing my lines back down. It's a lot of tracing, and I almost want to come up with a new word for it. You got to help me in the comments below. Tell me, what word can we create for tracing? We're reinventing this terminology. We're changing up our diction here, and I think it's absolutely necessary simply because tracing doesn't hold as much veracity as tracing these lines tend to be. You know, technically it's tracing, but I almost want to say it's like long form tracing. The fact that I'm having to do it over and over and over again, please, if there is somebody watching this video out in Poland or wherever who knows a thing or two about animation more than I do, and they have a term for just the tedious nature of just bringing these lines up and down and around, and how much that requires just again and again and again doing the same thing, you know. But in this case, we're not creating madness, as is often the case when you do the same thing all over again. In this case, we're making beautiful flower art, which I guess is a form of madness. But regardless, you know, let's just watch these lines come back down, even if it is the umpteenth time we've seen lines being traced. Okay, we've brought lines up, we've brought them down, and now is the official phase in the process of dots, 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 dots. You get it, you get it. We're doing dots. These dots today are brought to you by your local middle school dance committee, where they must stay an arm's length apart from the illustration, and they're also a little bashful. So they're just gonna hang out in the margins and just, you know, walk back and forth. They're just gonna go upwards and stay an arm's length away from the illustration, because again, like most kids in middle school, they're just gonna hang out in the corners, you know what I mean? So we've got some dots. Let's go ahead and hop back into the process video. Ah, yes, the dots. Here they are again. You know, for this piece, I decided to animate some dots just going off to the sides here. I think as long as it's different enough from some of the other examples of me animating these dots, I think that's good enough for me. But you gotta tell me, which are your favorite versions of doing these dots? Do you really like them upwards or downwards? You gotta let me know in the comments below. But for this piece, we're just laying down some dots, and you know, sometimes my dots are a little small, sometimes they're a little big. I think these err on the side of big, and mostly that's because our flower is taking up so much space that I think these dots are a little like a youngest child of all the siblings, where it's really fighting for the food at the table, if you will, and they're intimidated by their older sibling being the flower and the lines, but nonetheless they are the loudest voice in the room, or at least they're trying to be, because the flower leaves at the bottom are very much entering these dots' realm, into their personal bubble. So I try to just make these dots be a little bit bolder, stand out a little bit more. So I hope you enjoy them, and I really hope you enjoy the finished animation. Okay, we now have a pretty picture. It moves, it flickers, it is officially an animation. You gotta tell me though, do you approve? Or should I be sent back to the prison that is my desk to do another illustration for you? Do another illustration? Okay, well, I will see you next week for another illustration. I can't escape, and you know what? I'm not mad about it. So thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.